Hello, and I am not happy today. I am not happy about my employer, Amazon. I work for Amazon KCVG, and that is in Florence, Kentucky. Well, actually, it's the world's largest Amazon facility. It's the largest air facility, and it's part of CVG, which is the Cincinnati airport that sprawls into northern Kentucky. And so it's called KCVG. And in case you guys are doubtful, I have earned this award twice to be a top builder of cargo containers going onto airplanes. And my particular one isn't even on the front in the smaller print. It's the big one. Yeah, so this nice big one here, that's mine. That's my employer's website or physical site where I work. And like I said, I've got 2 awards. And I have worked for Amazon, not including at UOH 5, where I was for about a month before I couldn't get any more hours. I've worked for them for about 1 year and 10 months. And some of the things about Amazon are great. And other things are really not great. Now, I could go through a long list of the good, the bad, and even the ugly, but that is not my purpose today. My purpose today is to reveal to you that Amazon is engaging in behavior that violates labor laws, specifically union organization laws, as well as other laws and even their own policies. And they do so with impunity because they're rich and famous. I mean, let's put it this way. Several months ago, one of our employees, who was a load planner, he managed to actually get so enraged by the problems at the facility, and I'm not sure what problems there were, that he actually made up a list of people he wanted to kill, and he had a gun in his car, and he told one of his coworkers, which I hope was because he didn't really want to go through with it, rather than he just thought he could trust that person. But the person, of course, reported it to security. The police came, he was arrested, taken away, and nothing was said in the news. Does that have anything to do with the fact that Jeff Bezos is a media mogul? Well, I don't know. Between Amazon and Jeff, they have a lot of power and influence. I mean, he is one of the most powerful people in the world, one of the richest people in the world. And so there was a complete media blackout. I found out from employees that were there at the time, and even talked to a load planner who knew about the situation, and I verified it with another employee of Amazon who is in a position to know, who also confirmed that the information was correct. So this is not just some crazy conspiracy theory. It happened, and it was suppressed from the news by Amazon. Why? I don't know. But here's the thing. I have been trying for well over a year now to help our facility become a better place to work. And to a large degree, it seems like they don't really want to. And it's very, very frustrating. Some things have gotten better, but a lot of things are not changing. And some of the most important things are not changing, which includes the primarily the global HR department, which is run by a third-party company and has for several years, and is really horrible. Now, since it's been going on for several years, and I have confirmed with long-term employees of Amazon that it's been a problem the entire time and hasn't changed, well, clearly Amazon's top management, the C-suite, doesn't care. but it's ludicrous. And if you have ethical concerns, you're liable not to have them validated. That's happened to me twice. I know other people it's happened to. But all that aside, since February, a group of employees and former employees formed an organization to start a union at KCBG. This is called the Amazon Labor Union, KCBG, Northern Kentucky. And they have been working for a long time now, as you can tell, to try and get Amazon's employees into the union so that they have enough that they feel comfortable, they can stage the vote, and will win. And, well, a lot of people have signed up, but a lot of people are not active in trying to recruit in any way, shape, or form, I guess. But I know there are a lot of employees who have signed up, both new and old employees. Some people don't want to. They don't trust unions. The Amazon, when the union efforts started putting up messages saying, just because, don't sign something just because promises are made doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, or something to that effect. Basically, they didn't say ALU, the Amazon Labor Union, for KCBG. They just said, just because somebody makes promises doesn't mean you're going to get that. Now, the ALU, as far as I know, has been careful not to make promises. They're just stating these are our demands, which includes $30 an hour, which, considering the fact that DHL is across the street from KCBG and some of their employees now get $30 an hour because of their union, and DHL also engaged in violations of labor laws regarding union formation and was shut down by the labor board as well as a judge when they dragged it through court, because, of course, that's what people with money do. They try to manipulate the entire system to get what they want. So every step of the way for any people who are trying to form a union is resisted legally and illegally. So first they do illegal practices, and now they do, and then once they fail and the union has been voted on, then they start using legal and hopefully no more illegal tactics. But we're well over 40 violations reported to the labor board. Unfortunately, the labor board is underfunded and overworked, so it's going to be a long time before those things are addressed probably. Most recently, some of the union organizers, who are all employees except for one guy who works for a nonprofit that's helping to organize, only one guy that I'm aware of anyways. And he wasn't out there. Only employees were out there. And they had set up 3 tables in front of these concrete barriers that separate the walking area outside of the exit from the Sky Bridge from the driving lane for parking. And so these are very large barriers that are about 3 feet high, I believe. And so they set them in front of these barriers, not between the barriers. So no paths were blocked, and they were probably 5 to 10 feet away from the exit doors. And a whole bunch of people from senior leadership came out and started intimidating them, telling them they couldn't have the tables up and that they had to take them down, and harassing them. And one guy who's a senior operations I don't know if he's a senior operations manager, but he's an operations manager, which is Amazon's way of saying you're a manager, because an area manager is actually a supervisor, and a senior ops manager is just an ops manager. They just kind of escalate the titles to make you feel more important than you really are. So one guy, when somebody said something, he just puffed up in this kind of really aggressive looking stance. A microaggression is what it would be called. And he claimed after the fact that he didn't have any intention of intimidating people. But when you do a microaggression like that, whatever your conscious intention is, it doesn't actually matter because it is a microaggression, even if it was subconscious. The next day, several of them were brought into HR. They were chastised and interrogated, or whatever you want to call it. Then they were, told you can't do that. And they said, well, these are protected activities, the same kind of activities that DHL broke the law about with regard to the DHL employees who were organizing their union. And they claimed that the tables barred exit from the Sky Bridge, which they did not, because there was a huge amount of space. Now, I said 5. I'm going to say, actually, now that I think about it, it's definitely over 10 feet away from the door. So there's no way that, unless everybody had to exit at the same time because of a fire, which they wouldn't do from the Sky Bridge. Because number one, the Sky Bridge is far away from where almost everybody works. And number two, everybody's supposed to go to the nearest exit, which would be, for most people, onto the tarmac or the ramp, as it's called. So very few people would be going to the parking garage, which is where the Sky Bridge exits. In fact, you're told, do not go to the parking garage, because if you go and sit in your car, we won't know where you are, and we will be looking all over the facility to try to find you, which means, of course, obviously the fire department will come, and if the fire department discovers that somebody's missing, well, that kind of probably gets Amazon into a little bit of trouble. So don't stay in the bathroom, don't go to the parking garage, that kind of thing. Get out when there's an alarm for a fire. If there's a tornado alarm, that's different. You hide it inside. And then that was, I believe, last week. This is now the day before Thanksgiving, 2023, and on I think it was Monday, 11 employees were called into the into HR one by one. Some of them on false pretenses. Some of them claimed to be about public messages posted on the Voice of Associates, which is a public forum where associates can make a wide variety of comments, including safety concerns and calling out people for doing a good job and criticizing Amazon and all kinds of stuff. You can get censored. I have been censored 5 times, I believe, that I'm aware of, all revolving around the issue of the language barrier. At least 2 of the comments were completely innocuous, and one comment was based entirely upon instructions given to me by the head of HR. Jen Steele is her name. And that was also suppressed. And I was told by her boss, who is responsible for several facilities, that putting that rule up there was offensive to employees. And I was like, yeah, no, it's fact. This is exactly what she told me. So it was, anyways, I digress. So what I'm going to do now is, rather than explain all the details, I'm going to just say these 11 people were given final warnings. Some of them allegedly were not allowed to see the written warnings, but they were all given final written warnings because of the tables, even though most of them didn't have technically control over the tables because they weren't members of the organizing committee, but all of them were given final written warnings, which that's a violation of labor laws. It is, and I'm not sure if it's a violation of Amazon policy, because Amazon clearly only abides by policy when it suits them. And I won't even bother going into that right now. So I'm going to pull up on screen the letter that was written up by the lawyer that's representing the Amazon labor union. so that you can see for yourself that what I'm reading to you is, according to them, fact, rather than me just telling you what I've heard from some of the people who were pulled into HR and given these final written warnings. So, here we go. Okay, now, from the offices of Barnard, Iglitzen, and Lavitte LLP, November 20th, 2023, to whom it may concern. This weekend, several employees affiliated with ALUK-CVG were given a final written warning from management because of their involvement in soliciting support for the ALUK-CVG union from their coworkers. Such activity is unambiguously protected concerted activity under the National Labor Relations Act, NLRA. Because the complaint of activity was conducted in a non-working area during non-working time, Amazon cannot forbid these workers from engaging in this protected union activity. Therefore, those workers who have been targeted by Amazon will be appealing their final written warnings, that would be with Amazon, because they were unlawfully written in response to activity protected by the NLRA. And I just want to interject here. Some of my friends on the ALU are very, very stressed out about what has happened. Amazon has cited purported safety concerns as a reason that ALU-KCVG cannot set up tables in the parking garage to discuss the ALU-KCVG union with their coworkers. While safety concerns may, in the proper case, be a plausible reason to request workers to cease engaging in otherwise protected activities, Amazon's asserted safety concerns fall flat in this instance. At no point was any ALU-KCVG affiliated worker or any employee speaking to ALU-KCVG affiliated workers blocking or restricting foot traffic from any entrance or exit to the sky bridge connecting the parking lot to the KCVG facility. Nor did ALU-KCVG's tables ever interfere with traffic within the parking garage itself. In fact, ALU-KCVG's chosen location was behind several bollards, serving as a buffer between vehicular traffic and the ALU-KCVG tables, as well as people entering and leaving the skybridge. Instead, ALU-KCVG's affiliated workers were safely located out of the way of any potential foot or automobile traffic, and operations within the area continued as normal while ALU-KCVG was soliciting support. In a previous case at the Cincinnati airport called DHL Express versus NLRB 813F.3D365 DC Circuits 2016, an employer tried to cite safety concerns as a, just a second here, reason to forbid its employees from setting up to solicit union support in a mixed-use hallway area where employees checked in with security to enter and exit work. The DC Circuit affirmed that NLRB's holding that the employer's purported safety concerns were not considerable enough to prevent the workers from engaging in protected, concerted activity because the facts illustrated that the union did not block the flow of traffic in the hallway. There was no actual disruption to the ingress and egress zones, no employees were placed in any real danger, and the union was not breaking any TSA guidelines. ID at pages 378, 379. Absent specific evidence of disruption from the employer, the court refused to reverse the board's decision, ID at page 379. The instant matter mirrors the DHL case in many ways. ALU-KCVG did not block the flow of foot traffic, did not disrupt activities within ingress and egress zones, did not place employees in any real danger, and did not break any TSA guidelines. Further, Amazon has not demonstrated and cannot demonstrate specific evidence of disruption caused by ALU-KCVG's protected, concerted activities. In this instance, the law is on the side of the workers, and the law is clear. Amazon cannot stop ALU-KCVG from forming their union. The first step Amazon can take to remedy their unlawful behavior is to retract the written final warnings issued to the ALU-KCVG employees over the weekend. Sincerely, Travis Levensky, counsel for ALU-KCVG. Now, I want to point out that Amazon labor union has already reported over 40 violations by Amazon to the labor board. In addition, I heard allegations that immigrant workers at Amazon were pulled into a meeting in which they were told they might lose their jobs because of being involved with the union. They were intimidated. I've heard other allegations of similar criminal behavior by Amazon's management. I don't know if there are any management members from offsite, from other facilities, or from Seattle that have come. I only am aware of people working on site who are violating the law, allegedly. Now, I myself was a witness to one occasion when we were preparing to march to the general manager's office. We had about 22 people, and most everybody was standing outside in that open area outside the doors of the Sky Bridge. I happened to be inside because I was cold, and one of the senior bosses of aviation security, which is part of Amazon, as well as a couple of other people from, I think, HR and management, if I remember correctly, including Megan Rump. So there was Mark Guess and Megan Rump and one other person, I believe. They all went out there and confronted everybody and demanded to see all of their badges, claiming, now they've been claiming that all these badge checks they've been doing on the union organizers is completely normal, despite the fact that they have badge checked some of these people multiple times in one day, multiple times in a short period of time, say a couple of hours, for which there is no reason other than to intimidate them, because they've already seen their badges, they already know, and they don't need to continually check the badges because the badges aren't going to suddenly expire. And so I happened to see that happen when they came out, and then they went back in, they said some things to the employees, and then we all went in and we spoke to the general manager, Karthik. He was surrounded by members of aviation security as well as management. There were lots of people that came flooding into the office with Karthik, and he was trying to refuse to speak to us. He said, I want to sit down and talk to you one by one. I don't want to do this as a group. And of course, we're organizing as a group, so it wasn't acceptable that he was not willing to listen. And eventually, the meeting was terminated by the union because the persons leading it decided that there was no further point in trying to communicate with Karthik on the matters that they were dealing with, including the intimidation that had been ongoing by Amazon. And Karthik refused to accept a copy of the labor board violation that was filed against Amazon for the recent intimidation. He actually said, I'm not going to take it with you. And of course, we refused to do that. I'm not a labor organizer, but I am a member of the union, and they know it. They haven't bothered me, which is good, because I'd be quite happy to take them to court, and I'm quite happy to win millions of dollars off of them. But for whatever reason, they haven't decided to go after me. But they have gone after the organizers repeatedly in many different ways. And I have talked to people at Amazon who are afraid to join the union because they are afraid they're going to be persecuted by Amazon. Given Amazon's behavior and the final written warnings, I can see why. Fortunately, anybody who wants to join Amazon's union can do so anonymously. So that's not really a big concern. I am very, very disappointed in Amazon, but not at all surprised. Jeff Bezos has a long history of abusive behavior, So the fact that, and I have seen a lot of bad behavior by some of Amazon's management, including lying, false promises, and refusals to properly investigate retaliation against myself. They didn't actually refuse it; they just faked an investigation twice in a row. I sent it to ethics. Ethics said, no, nothing wrong here. So, and again, I've talked to other people who've also had retaliation cases and other kind of ethical cases, including retaliation against somebody from the LGBTQ community. Um, and it's just ridiculous. It's unacceptable. Vote with your wallets. Yeah. Don't vote this Black Friday. Don't buy anything. And by not buying anything, you're sending a strong message to Amazon during a very important period of time when they've hired extra employees for the entirety of Thanksgiving all the way to the pretty much the end of the year. So we are all on mandatory 6-day a week, for those of us who normally do 5 days, and for those of us who normally do 4 days, or there are 5 days and an extra hour a day. So please vote by not buying anything from Amazon. Go to newegg.com, go to B&H Photo and Video, go to Walmart, go to Target, go to Best Buy. I don't care. Just don't please buy from Amazon. Let Amazon know that you stand with the ALU, KCVG, and other groups that are trying to organize in Seattle, who have already organized and are being blocked by Amazon in New York City, JFK, and so on and so forth. And if you want, you can see several videos on TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I refuse to use a software that is a pipeline to the Chinese government. But they have several videos on there that have garnered hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views. So you can see the march to Karthik's office, and you can see the recent march to the nearby GSC, where they were trying to communicate with the management there about the need for immigrants to have adequate support when they have a language barrier. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and most importantly, share this video everywhere you can. Thank you again, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.